I can't believe that's the first time I figured out how to do that countdown video. I've always seen people do that video with the little music to where I never knew how to do it. Yeah, it's only been how long? That's like a boomer moment. Yeah, so this is a nice, tasty protein shake. People keep asking, "Yo, what's up, Outlaw?" Yeah, people. I'm gonna play with fancier intros now that I know how to do it, man. I'm gonna like put some visuals on it and stuff, and all this fun stuff. But yeah, people. I said before, people keep asking if I can make a video about weight loss, and I always say I'm not interested. But I figured, okay, you know what? Maybe I will give like one tip at the top of every segment. Yeah, so and then I'll just talk about whatever the topic is, and then maybe at one point I'll put them all together. But like I said, I never want to do it because I think all the information's out there, and everything's like individualized. Like I think I do a really high protein thing, but some people I know have gotten great results going low protein and high carb. Like, uh, so here's the first tip. I would say you should always keep something in the house that can satisfy your junk food itch, but is not so good that once you start eating it, you're gonna go crazy. So it's like, for example, I like this milk chocolate bar with hazelnuts from Trader Joe's. I got a bar of it, and this is tip number two. Like, especially in the beginning, measure your calories and macronutrients. You can always trial and error and figure out what caloric deficit and what macronutrient count works for you. But if you try to eyeball it or guesstimate, you're always going to get it wrong. You always underestimate how much you actually eat. So in the beginning, write everything religiously. Use an app like MyFitnessPal. Write it all religiously. But one thing I had done is realize if you go too clean in the beginning, you're not going to be able to maintain it, and then you're going to crash out and binge on junk food. So I never kept too much junk food in the house, but I found the best thing to do is keep one junky thing that you can eat in moderation. So the first thing I got was this milk chocolate hazelnut bar from Trader Joe's, and I measured out 2 squares, and 2 squares fit within my macronutrients. So like this is all good. Mistake. I cannot eat 1 or 2 squares alone. That thing, I would always crash out and have the whole thing. So then I found out. So then I found this thing at Whole Foods. This rice pudding called Petite Pot. It's the best rice pudding I ever tasted, and it comes in individual jars, and it's really rich. And a single jar is like 16 grams of carbs and about 160 calories. It's not that much. I take that. I put a tablespoon of chia seeds in it, mix it up, and I have that every morning. And it scratches like this. I have it with a protein shake. It scratches every type of junk food itch I have, but it's not so good. Like I can't just sit there with a big jug of rice pudding and like I feel disgusting after a while. Like I get sick of the texture or whatever. Like it's really concentrated goodness, and then I'm good. And then I'm not really tempted by junk the rest of the day. And then I have little 50-calorie bags of popcorn from a brand called Lesser Evil that tastes really good. And if I have a late night craving, then it'll be that. But yeah, that'd be my one trick for the episode. Just take one junk food that's good enough for you to feel satisfied, but not so good that you're gonna not be able to manage. Like if you're a person that really likes potato chips and you get a big bag of potato chips, and you try to tell yourself, "I'm gonna have 20 chips," like it's not gonna work. Don't even try it. Never like a texture of rice pudding. No, this rice pudding is really good. It's called Petite Pot. I highly recommend it. But that's neither here nor there. Uh, we always talk about Forever 2016, or sometimes we say Forever 2018, and how things do not change. And Obama is doing the Hucklebuck. He's doing the 2008 Hucklebuck, and we will describe what that is in this stream. But yeah, Obama's trying to play all the old hits, but he doesn't know that it's moved on. He's trying to do boom bap rap, and it's the mumble rap era, or he's trying to do mumble rap, and it's the trap era. He's behind the times. He was hibernating, and he just does not understand. He does not understand what is happening. But what I will say that surprised me, I didn't think this was ever going to happen. I didn't think we were ever going to hit a point where people would have people would have a sticking point, a something that was just too much when it came to bashing black men. I just thought it was always going to be a handful of the same people complaining, and they just tell us to shut up and call us hoteps, like Tommy Curry types and stuff like that. But I mean, this has gotten bad. Like, I used to focus a lot on intersectional feminism and stuff like that. I kind of stopped, and I wanted to focus on other things because they're kind of played out. Like, they don't really have the sway that they do. Like, they've been institutionalized from being in Hollywood and academia so long that they're always gonna kind of be around, and politicians are always gonna pay it lip service. But the force that it was around 2016 is gone. Um, and a lot of people are just sick of them. A lot of people are sick of anything from that social justice sphere. And I think it's gotten worse because they've produced nothing. And we had that recent episode of the podcast. Go to champagnesharks.patreon.com to become a subscriber. And it's like the Angela Rye blow up in the Breakfast Club. We're gonna talk about the Breakfast Club in a couple minutes. I think, and everyone getting tired of her, I think, is that people are just sick of a particular type of feminist because it's like y'all just made a bunch of noise. We're canceling everyone that we loved. We're um trying to gas us up into all this protest stuff, and y'all just got yourselves media jobs and mentions. Like, what do we have to do for show for that whole era? Like, Angela Wright got herself a position. A bunch of people got their talking head spots on MSNBC, made themselves careers. They got their development deals. Um, they got their mansions. They got whatever. And black people got nothing. And yeah, people are just, I think, really sick of how these people act and everything. But I feel this backlash to what Obama said is kind of part of that symptom, like that people are just sick of these people. Like, there were a handful of us that always hated them. And there was a bunch of people that were just um going along to get along because they were caught up in the moment of the protesting or whatever. But I think most people just were apathetic to them or just didn't know who they were just relatively unaware. But they've made themselves so known that I think they're hated at a degree they never were before. Like, people really, really now are starting to know what they're about. Like, I've had people who used to think I was too far or too obsessed, come back, say years later, yo, I owe you an apology. These people are hella annoying. These people are annoying as hell. Like, you were so right. Or they thought, like, I was on some MRA mess or something. And they came around, we're like, okay, we get it now. We see what the problem was. I'm really OCD. I realize I lost something and I gotta figure out where it is. So I'll do it after the stream. And I feel like that's kind of what's been happening with this backlash to the Obama thing. Like, this thing would not have been received this way. But after like 8 years of trying to make black men a scapegoat, these are the two things that a straight black man is to woke black people: scapegoats and attack dogs. That's our only two purposes. We don't really serve any other real purpose to these people, like, except those two things. And I just think people are really, really, really sick of it. And I'm going to start off with, we have a lot of clips to go into, so I'm going to jump right into it. I'm not even going to try to say it's going to be a short one because it's probably not going to be. And every time I say it's going to be a short one, it like almost never is. So I'm not even going to even try it this time. But anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe. Um, all the ways to support the show are at the bottom here. Go to patreon.com/champagne sharks for $5 a month. You can become a member, get all the podcast episodes, including the members only episodes where we get deep into the game, and we're gonna start having guests again, and that's gonna be a good time doing having authors and professors and all that stuff again. So yeah, I would really love it if you guys were to come in. And also throughout the stream, don't be shy, feel free to hit the super chat at the bottom, or if you're watching it after the fact, you can donate on a rewatch of a recorded stream. So all that helps with the show, helps with uh supporting the show. And honestly, the more um the show pays for itself to do, the easier it is to do more episodes because it becomes more worth my time. But yeah, this is gonna be a good one. So let me get my material together. I have a whole document full of links. But people don't know, this is now a reaction channel, like officially. I keep meaning to change the name of the channel to Champagne Sharks Reactions to make it clear. But the reason for that is because I needed a way to differentiate it from the regular podcast instead of making it redundant. And I thought that's the best thing to do. So anyway, first things first. Tomorrow, apparently, um, Kamala Harris is gonna go to one of our favorite places. It's gonna be pretty good. And I have a feeling that I might end up having to do an emergency stream tomorrow evening because I got a feeling. Let's see if it breaks the curse. Let's see if this appearance breaks the track record. Longtime listeners will know what I am about to say when I say the curse. But yes, the Breakfast Club.
Yes, I'm going to have a conversation with the vice president live on iHeartRadio. You know, our listeners are very passionate. Remember the brother Tone that called up the other day?
Yep.
And he had a lot of grievances, a lot of things he wanted to get off his chest. I want local voices from Detroit and voices from all the battleground states to get the opportunity to ask Vice President Kamala Harris some questions. I know we got some pressing issues to talk about. The future of the nation is decided by who we elect. So I want to tell Detroit and the whole country, don't miss an event. We are calling We the People, a conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris and myself, Charlemagne the God, this Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here. And when I mean right here, whatever station you are listening to me on, you will hear the conversation Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Now, if you listen to us on the iHeartRadio app, there's a feature called Talkback. Use the Talkback mic and send me your questions right now. Like right now, go to the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app and send your questions for We the People.
Now, here's one reason. Oops, hold on. Okay. Now, here's one reason why the curse might be broken. Technically, it's not the Breakfast Club. It doesn't seem to be. It's 5 p.m. and it might be just Charlemagne alone. But then again, the Joe Biden thing that almost sunk him last year, where you ain't blackjack, that was one of these things where it wasn't technically the Breakfast Club. It was Charlemagne by himself. So I think the curse applies to even Breakfast Club adjacent stuff. For people who don't know, we've long had this point for a while that we noticed that the Breakfast Club is supposed to be the way for people to reach out to the black community, but the Breakfast Club is kind of so bad at it as far as being politically savvy and suited for this. Like, they're good for gossip, they're good for music, they're good for all that stuff, but they're not really good for serious topics. But they so want to be in that arena, you know what I'm saying? So whenever people go on the Breakfast Club to get shilled for, they always walk away with a viral soundbite that does the opposite. Whether it's Kamala Harris and the I was listening to Tupac and I smoked weed clip, or Cory Booker and all these other people. They always end up looking like terrible. But the people that they bring on to clown always end up looking really good, like that Byron Donald, whatever his name is, that was going against Angela Rye, or Jill Stein and Butch Ware that came out looking golden. You also had who else? Larry Elder. He came out smoked Charlemagne. Big shout out to Drew Thomas. Thanks for the super chat. And he says, "Bring back Dr. Curry." Yeah, I actually do want to bring him back, and I think I have a topic in mind. So hopefully he has the time to do it. He's on a different yeah, he's on a different time zone, Scotland, but I'm sure we could still make it work. Jacob James said you could have the reaction content being a playlist and purpose each video CS reacts. Yeah, it's true, but the whole channel is gonna be reaction channel, so it's almost redundant to have a playlist because that's gonna be the only type of content that we're gonna have going forward. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. So my prediction, if things hold true to form, there is gonna be a terrible soundbite that comes out of tomorrow. Clip this, put it on Twitter to and we'll see. I mean, I might be wrong. I'm reserving the right to be wrong. There's a first time for everything. Nothing's 100%. It could be possible that this is a slam dunk. I mean, they've made enough mistakes that they might figure out how to do it, but yeah, let's see. Let's see. Hey, Alex Sherman, how you doing? And again, thanks again for the super chat, Drew Thomas. And don't be shy, people. Don't let Drew Thomas make you all look bad. And also, likes are free, so don't be afraid to hit the likes. Um, I mean, I think Kamala could win, to be honest, but not. If she's gonna win, it's gonna be in spite of herself. It's gonna be depending on how much people hate Trump. Um, and that's what I'm kind of curious to see. But she's incredibly incompetent, and it's really almost impressive how they tried to rig this game for her so much. Like, I even started thinking she had a chance to win. They gave her, they allowed her to skip the primary process, and it's kind of ironic that the people talk the most about democracy, um, having to defend democracy, put the candidate in place in the most undemocratic way possible. They just anointed her and didn't even primary her. And at the coronation, like that DNC thing was a coronation, it was not a primary. And during the whole coronation, they had the nerve to keep talking about democracy, democracy, democracy. Well, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he was chosen by the people. The RNC was doing everything they could to have anybody but him, and he's who the people wanted. And you know, no matter what weird sound bites he has about whatever, and one of the reasons why they like to say that he's against democracy is due to you know things he said about not recognizing the elections if he loses. But I'm gonna tell you right now, these Democrats, if Kamala loses, I will be shocked if they don't contest the election, or at least seriously consider it. So I think it's going to be a second point of hypocrisy. They're already hypocritical on the we have to do this for democracy while not being democratic. But and the weird thing is, even if they did primary her, I'm sure she would have ended up winning just because it's the most pragmatic thing to do. But they tried to put her in a very short amount of time, have her limit her interviews for friendly places, um, and minimize her chances to make gaffes, and just work in the honeymoon period. And even with all that, she still managed, in the limited exposure to herself that she's given, she still managed to turn people off with her just really off-putting persona. It's just weird. I mean, the game is rigged in her favor. She's a very attractive woman, but her personality is just it's just crazy. And they're not even stumbling her on tough questions, like just very simple things like, what's your agenda on this or whatever. And she has this weird thing she does where she's like, oh, and then she starts saying, I grew up in a middle class family. And in a middle class family, it's just talking about a middle class family. That's for everything. It's just it's craziest thing. Like she just would blatantly answer a question that was not asked. I've never seen anything like that. Um, she's a very bizarre lady. Like she says it in a kind of articulate way, so you can't really tell. But I will say she honestly answers questions worse than Joe Biden. Like Joe Biden gets words and names wrong, and he'll call somebody by the name of someone who was dead 20 years, or he'll mix up words. But if you um just fix the gaps in your head, what he's saying is actually relevant to the question. You know, most of the time he might meander to get there, or he might mess up some words, but he does grasp the question. Whereas she gets all her words out and she's very articulate and whatever, but she does not seem to understand the questions. She yeah, she's very bad off the cuff. Yeah, like she's more articulate than Biden for sure, but ironically, I think Biden is actually more on planet Earth when it comes to being engaged in answering a simple question. He's much better at, I mean, he has his gaps like the whole "you ain't black" thing, but even that was an answer to the question. It was just a terrible answer. She literally can't answer questions. It's the most bizarre thing because like, she had to have a lot of media training over 4 years. Like, how did she get no better on this? But yeah, she's gonna be on the Breakfast Club, and that is, to me, I get that they have a huge audience, but I mean, what is this belief that Breakfast Club is so important um in order to win over black people? Like Biden's whole rise to become the candidate was based on, dominating the black vote in South Carolina. And the whole road to that didn't include a single appearance on the Breakfast Club, but a lot of his other opponents did. Kamala appeared in the Breakfast Club really early on. She was one of the first ones out. Like, there's this kind of idea that virality and social media and YouTube has all this power in the real world. I don't really think it does. I mean, if that was the case, YouTube stars would be the most bankable movie acts and or TV acts, and they're often not. Lily Singh show flop. I think most people just don't really care. Most people watch social media and stuff as a captive audience. They're bored at work, looking for anything to do. So they go on YouTube, they're on their phones, like, but voting involves leaving your house. Watching a movie involves leaving your house, paying $20 to watch something. Even watching like TV um is more of a commitment to social media because you can just look at social media mindlessly while you watch TV and your, phone breaks. But people take even TV watching seriously. Like just what streaming services they subscribe to. Like, am I gonna subscribe to Showtime to watch the like when these is the mirror on Vice? I think that helped them because Vice is on basic cable. Once they went to Showtime and it was a paywall, the ratings went like down to the toilet. Like I think it's really hard to judge how marketable things are based on what people watch on the internet because people will watch a lot of crap on the internet. It's very non-committal. Um, it's very easy to multitask. You can have it on while you're doing something else. Um, you can do it at work. So if you're looking for distraction at work, like the internet is the easiest thing because what else can you watch? Yeah, it's. So let's see. First, we're gonna start with the clip that started it all because the reason why I think they're doing this with Charlemagne and Kamala Harris is because she is in damage control because of that big-eared Barack. He just came out and just started shooting his mouth. And I had a friend. He was a he was a guy I used to work with back in the day, and this guy, um, his parents from the South. And I asked him one day at work. I was like, "Yo, how was your weekend, man?" He goes, "Yeah, I had a good weekend, man. My uncle from Mississippi came down. he's a cool guy, man, but that dude is just he's not with the program, man. I took him out to the club, because this is like in the 2000s. Like, I took him out to the club, and he was just embarrassing me. I was like, yo, Unc, people don't dance like that anymore, man. He came out in some crushed velvet pants. He started doing the hucklebuck. I was like, hucklebuck? What's the hucklebuck? He goes, oh, hucklebuck's this old dance. I used to do it back in the day. I was like, the hucklebuck. And he's like, yeah, man, it was an old song in the 40s, and Chubby Checker brought it back for a second, but yeah, so it's an old dance. He goes, this dude's still doing the hucklebuck, and I look at the hucklebuck, and sure enough, it's a real dance. And I always remember like the hucklebuck. I always think about uh some old cats who try to step out to the club, but they're doing the dance from like 3 generations ago, and everyone's like, what the fuck is doing? Man? That's what Obama's doing. He was doing the 2008 Hucklebuck. He thought that the 2008 era was still around, man. This was Obama coming out in Pittsburgh. Obama came out. He was ready to do it.
Here's a dance you should know.
Yeah, but Obama was out.
When the lights are down low.
He was like, you want to hear what I'm talking about?
Your baby's there.
Kind of bash black men.
But do the hucklebuck, do the hucklebuck. If you don't know how to do it, baby, I'm luck. Being a latchstick, playing your hustle back. Gonna leave a movement in your sacchariniac.
Yep. He was ready. This is Obama. He was ready to just bash the black man. He was doing the hucklebuck, man. He was ready. He was ready to go, man. This is Obama should came out in this outfit, man. He was doing a 2008 hucklebuck.
That's what you do when you do the hucklebuck.
Yeah, Obama was ready, man. He thought the crowd was gonna love it, man. That's Obama. Obama was doing the hucklebuck. He was ready, man. And they were not feeling it, man. They did not want the hucklebuck. They did not want the 2008 hucklebuck, man. It was not happening, man. He was like, yo, it was working back in the day. People like this dance. I'm gonna bring it back. And he didn't get the message, man. They're doing something new now. They want a Millie Rock now. They don't want that bullshit. They are not feeling that bullshit at all. And like this has been his brand, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really important for people to realize to the extent to which this has been his brand, and it worked for him. And I'm gonna give you all some examples in case you forgot, but there's been plenty back in the day. This is not anything. This is not anything new, and I'm gonna pull them up now. And a lot of black people used to go for it, a lot of black people used to go for it. And it used to go over well. And one of the reasons why it used to go over well is because one of the reasons it used to go over well is because there are a lot of respectable bougie black people that would, go for it. If you look at something like Boondocks used to have this reputation as this revolutionary radical show, but I mean that was a show that was popular with the black community, and it was full of scoldings, so I'm gonna give some examples right now. And somebody already mentioned it. Ashton Poole mentioned the commencement ceremony. Girl, you read my mind. You read my mind. That is exactly what I was going to talk about next. I got so many windows open. I gotta try to find the right one. But yeah, that commencement one was the worst. That was at Morehouse. Oh wait, no, that one was not commencement actually. It was a graduation. That's the same thing, actually, right? What am I saying? A commencement is a graduation. Duh. Never mind. Damn it! Cannot find the tab right now. You know what? Let me just go. Let me just go through it anyway, because oh, here it is. I found it. Okay. Sorry about that. So many tabs open for the purpose of the show. So check this one out. So this is back when the Hucklebuck was still popular. So Obama, there's no longer time for excuses for black men. And he went to Morehouse College. He received an honorary doctorate of law degree. And he told the graduation class at Morehouse, the country's preeminently historically black college, there's, quote, no time for excuses, unquote, for the generation of African American men. And it was time for the generation to step up professionally in their personal lives. He delivered the commencement address. Yes, it is a commencement address. I got mixed up at the Atlanta College that both civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. and Spike Lee and Atlanta's first black mayor Maynard Jackson among its alumni. Um, the president connected his own path to the White House to the work of King and other African American leaders of that generation, but he also conceded that at times, as a young man, he wrongly blamed his own failings, quote, as just another example of the world trying to keep a black man down, unquote. Quote, we got no time for excuses. Not because the bitter legacies of slavery and segregation have vanished entirely. They haven't. Obama told the graduating class and their families who sat through intermittent rain and thunder. It's just that in today's hyper-connected, hyper-competitive world, with a billion young people from China and India and Brazil entering the global workforce alongside you, nobody's going to give you anything you haven't earned. And he spoke in very personal terms to the five. Hey, y'all, what's going on? Yeah. So I don't know what happened. My computer's acting like crazy. So how much got taken down? How much Obama's out to get me, y'all? How much did y'all miss? So I know how much to back up to. I was just talking and talking because I didn't even have my screen up. So I didn't even know how much of it y'all even heard. I hope it wasn't too much. I can backtrack. Yeah, for some reason this let me wait for y'all to get to everything to catch up. Yeah, but for some reason this computer is really slow, which is crazy because it's very powerful. I'm gonna close programs in the background in the meantime. Anyway, let me know when y'all catch up and let me know to what extent I have to back up. That's a problem. I opened all the tabs for the show. So each tab has a different link I'm gonna link to. And I thought I was being responsible and minimizing wait time, but it backfired because now the tabs are slowing down the movement of the show. So it serves me right. A global workforce. I don't remember a part about global workforce. I said something about that. I don't know. Anyway, I'll just try to freestyle it and figure out. I was talking about the commencement address with Obama and Morehouse and trying to show that he Oh, global workforce. I understand. Global workforce was in the quote. Oh, so in that case, I did. He didn't miss much then. Okay, yeah, there wasn't much after the global workforce part. Okay, good, good. All right. So yeah, basically he was saying, pick up your pants, and what I was saying after that was, somebody asked how much RAM a computer has. It actually has a lot, which is why I'm really surprised. It's the first time it's actually slowed down. But I think the problem is too, I'm not good at restarting my computer. I leave it running all the time, and I think it needs to be occasionally shut down. I think that's the problem. I just leave it in sleep mode all the time. But I don't think the RAM is a problem. I think it's just that I don't shut it down often enough. Yeah. So back in the days, like flat blackness was very much a thing, and like all kinfolk were skin folks. As long as you weren't Republican, the only thing you could really do to mess up being getting black support as a black person was being Republican. But differentiation between Black Americans versus Caribbean versus Afro Latino versus African wasn't really a thing. And as much as I don't like a lot of the FBA talk about the whole tether thing and all this stuff, it doesn't totally come out of nowhere. I mean, I think there is a big history of, a lot of black people not of American slavery descent, flying in under the radar and co-opting the struggle. And black Americans didn't really gatekeep that much. But also across class lines, it wasn't that big a deal. Like a lot of bushy black people, a lot of Jack and Jill types could also, get by on counting on black support. So Obama, and plus, I think respectability politics was a much bigger thing. And I think post Gen X, I think millennials and Gen Z, they don't go for the respectability politics quite the same. Like even our radical voices in Gen X and older were still prone to, scolding, you know? And and I think he says here that it was never a thing in New York, but down south you recognize differences. I think they do, but they still didn't gatekeep as hard as they do now. Like I think you might recognize the difference, but when it came time to vote, they still fell in line. Those old boomers still turned out for Biden on behalf of Obama. Like I've been in certain households where they have the picture of the Obama family. Like I think they recognize the differences, but they don't they weren't as hostile to them as they are now. And well, I think some of these voices have, maybe gone a little too far in the hostility to immigrant descendant black voices. I don't think it comes out of nowhere. And I think there are a lot of things that black people of immigrant descent do have to kind of own up to. You know what I'm saying? So because Obama had it so locked down with black people, and because respectability politics was a lot more, I think, accepted among those older generations. Like I said, even the show Boondocks, which people remember so fondly as being so radical, was full of scolding of black people. Um, Obama was more worried about convincing white people that he wasn't gonna go easy on black people. Like he wanted white people to know he's one of the good ones. And because he was so confident he wasn't going to alienate black people, he would just lecture black people all the time. But what's interesting too, um, what's interesting too is even white people are seeing through it now. A lot of the pushback to this stuff that Obama is doing is even from white people now. Even white people were calling him out for always blaming black men, and that part really surprised me. Here's some more examples of Obama doing the Hucklebuck from the past. Because anybody can show one example. I want to show that this is a continued pattern. Plus, as I go through these tabs, hopefully, as I go through these tabs, oh damn it, this thing's testing me to see if I'm a robot. Oh, okay. It's making me complete puzzles. Okay, so for some reason, this website that was up and fine a second ago now thinks I'm a robot. It's making me do like a million puzzles. Let's try something else. I'm telling you, man. Obama's using his drones to fuck with me. He's not letting me live. He's guys old Secret Service, deep state cronies trying to do everything they can to fuck up the stream. But we're gonna keep it going. Okay. This is ridiculous. And is it finally up? Nope. I tried to pull up an archive version of the page, and even that's not working. Oh, you know what I wonder if it is? It says they have to update Chrome. I wonder if that's the problem. If the Chrome just needs an update or something. I don't know. Just give me a second, because we're having all types of technical problems. Okay, here we go. It's finally worked. That was ridiculous, but it finally worked. So I'm gonna pull up the page now. No, it was sorted out. I have no way of knowing what's gonna happen when I go live. Okay, here we go. Obama tells blacks they must take responsibility. That's kind of crazy. It says blacks, so they wouldn't do that now. Lowercase. Obama tells blacks, not black people. July 2008. Democratic White House hopeful. He didn't even win yet. He was running. On Monday, urged blacks to take more responsibility for improving their own lives, standing firm on a tough message that has been criticized by some African Americans. So you see, I had to pull up the archive version of this because for some reason the main website was fighting me. Obama, who would be the first black president, was accused by civil rights leader Jesse Jackson last week of talking down to blacks. But that's crazy about this. Jesse Jackson got a lot of flack for any criticism he did of Obama by other black people. That's how different a time it was. Now, I know there's some who've been saying I've been too tough, talking about responsibility. Obama told the NAACP, the nation's oldest civil rights organization, "I'm here to report. I'm not going to stop talking about it." Jackson's and others have criticized Obama for discussing the problem of absent fathers in many black families and urging black men to become more involved in their children's lives. In urging more engagement of black fathers, Obama often talks about his own experience being raised by a white Kansas-born single mother and his grandfathers after his black Kenyan father. And this is another example of flat blackness, like as if the single parent phenomenon in the black American community has the same roots as whatever's going on with his father, which it doesn't. Left a family when he was 2 years old. He often tells black audiences they must spend more time doing their homework with the children and avoid letting them watch too much television. But in the speech, Obama also highlighted what he said was a failure of Washington and Wall Street, addressing economic ills affecting blacks, such as lack of affordable health care, inadequate public schools, and income inequality. "We've got to demand more responsibility from Washington. We've got to push aside those special interests and let the voices of the American people ring out," Obama said. We got to demand more responsibility from Wall Street. But you know what? We also have to demand more responsibility from ourselves, he added. Jackson told CNN last week that Obama has given what amounts to lectures at African American churches. And so there's that one. And again, it's just one of many. And we're going to pull up this one last one. Okay, it looks like the computer's under control. It's responding now. June 2008, Obama sharply assails absent black fathers. Addressing a packed congregation at one of the city's largest black churches, Senator Barack Obama on Sunday invoked his own absent father to deliver a sharp message to African American men, saying, "We need fathers to realize that responsibility does not end at conception. Too many fathers are MIA. Too many fathers are AWOL, missing from too many lives and too many homes. They have abandoned the responsibilities, acting like boys instead of men, and the foundations of our families are weaker because of it." And then, accompanied by his wife Michelle and his daughters Malia and Sasha, who sat in the front pew, Mr. Obama laid out his case in stark terms that would be difficult for white candidates to make, telling the mostly black audience not to just sit in the house, watch the sports center, and to stop praising themselves for mediocre accomplishments. Don't get carried away with their 8th grade graduation, he said, bringing many members of the congregation to their feet. This is crazy. This got a standing ovation, telling black people not to get carried away, patting themselves on the back for getting an 8th grade graduation. This is what I'm saying, that black people are very different. These were black church boomers. You're supposed to graduate from 8th grade. So he's co-opting a Chris Rock joke of saying no, when men give themselves credit for doing the bare minimum as a father. So 2000 was a different time. It was a very different time. His themes have also been sounded by the comedian Black Bill Cosby. So yeah, the best thing is he did this on Father's Day. It was a Father's Day speech. So he went to black people talk about Father's Day by telling them what bad fathers they are. Yeah, it's not all boomers. I'm not saying it's all boomers, but I'm saying though there's still a lot of boomers there. No, I'm sure. I mean, I would say the Boondocks audience was elder millennials. I would say from boomers to elder millennials, but I think it is a very boomerish trait that kept going on. So yeah, I mean the Hucklebuck, you could do it. You could play it anytime. There's no wrong time for the Hucklebuck. He went in Father's Day to lecture them on watching Sports Center all day and being satisfied with 8th grade educations, and he got standing ovation in the black church. It's crazy, so he thought he gonna play the same tune, man. He thought it was time for the Hucklebuck. And Black said my grandmother only had 8th grade education. I don't say there's anything wrong with having 8th grade education, but the idea that in 2008 as a community, black men in 2008 were high-fiving each other over 8th grade education and celebrating, and they had to be told that it wasn't a big deal. That's the insane part. I'm sure your grandmother had a very good reason for not getting 8th grade education. It was a different time and a different era and whatever. But in 2008, yeah, I just don't think there were people who were high-fiving each other like, my kid's done. They got an 8th grade education. Like, even in the hood. That's an insane thing to even pretend. Do the Hucklebuck. Do the Hucklebuck. He was feeling it. You couldn't tell Obama shit, man. He thought it's gonna be the same old tune. Yeah, but so not only was he getting away with it with white people, he was getting away with it with black people. And it's crazy too, man. I mean, this guy is so unserious. Like, he went right back to shilling for Netflix. Like this guy, he has not really cared about politics since. Like you see people like Jimmy Carter and other people, um, they've still tried to be ambassadors for politics or whatever. George W. Bush just went to hiding and paints pictures, but but Obama's kind of made to be like the next Martin Luther King by some people. He was supposed to be this kind of dude that was an activist type of, he tapped into that whole activist um image, and he has not been serious about anything since he left. He's just been doing his best to be an influencer. That's all he's been trying to do. And this has been his latest thing. After doing that chilling, he went right back to trying to get his Netflix show promoted. For one basketball fan to the next, I hope you enjoy HE Media's docuseries Starting Five, which is streaming now on Netflix. And if you're ever wondering which players I'd have in my starting five, take a look. And here we go.
Pretty good approximation of what Magic Johnson. I'm basketball fan Barack Obama. I'm going to talk about my favorite starting five. If I just put together a team where I would enjoy watching it, and I think they beat any.
And the reason why I'm playing this, like, you might think, why are you playing this? I want to play it because this is so typical Obama. The most safest starting five ever. Like, he would never, ever come up with an interesting starting five. I bet you can guess the first two right off the bat. Like, there's not a single, like, everything he does is so focus group tested. But check this out. His starting five.
Anybody. I'm from Chicago. MJ, Michael Jordan at shooting guard. I'd put LeBron at point forward. A bunch of times he'd be bringing up the ball and he'd be distributing. He'd basically be doing some of the stuff that he did recently in the Olympics, and that is a pretty good approximation of what Magic Johnson could do. But I want a little shooting and a little flair. I'm going to put my friend Steph Curry into the mix because we're in the three-point era, and he is the greatest shooter of all time, bar none. At center, I'm going to put Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, whose game I think translates to today's game. He was such an amazing athlete.
Now, I'm surprised he didn't go with Shaquille O'Neal, because that's a pretty obvious choice. But I think Olajuwon is a pretty good choice too. Like, I'm not saying these are bad choices. They're just the most boring choices.
Anchor on defense. He's going to give you everything you need out of the center position. This last spot is tough, but I think, especially given today's game, I've got to go with Kevin Durant, KD, who may be the most efficient, effective scorer in the history of basketball. I'm feeling pretty good about that five.
Now, the reason I point this out is everything he does is like he's still campaigning. Like, he has no spontaneous natural bone in his body. I feel like he governed like he was still campaigning. He's his playlists are always focus group tested and so inauthentic. Everything he does is just so bland and focus group tested. Like someone said, auto generated. Yeah, for sure. Uh, he probably has AI doing his playlist at this point. Yeah, his reading list. Yeah, it's just um, it's just terrible. Yeah, it's just a very boring, safe. Oh, what did he say about Sports Center? One of the things he said in the speech that I just played was telling black people not sit around and watch Sports Center all day and stuff like that. And yeah, we can't just all blame it on him because a lot of black people did go for that type of nonsense. So yeah, it can't all just be placed on him, unfortunately. Um, so anyway, Kamala is now having to deal with this nonsense. This has become Kamala's problem. So hold on. I'm gonna pull up some more. Check out this. A lot of people, and this is kind of like a cult, right? For people who know, I've talked about when prophecy fails in the past. When prophecy fails was this study slash book that was done by the same guy who came up with the concept of cognitive dissonance, and I think cognitive dissonance was coined in this study. And the guy's name was Leon Festinger, and he created the theory of cognitive dissonance. And what he was doing in When Prophecy Fails is he was following a doomsday cult, and they were predicting that there was going to be the end of the world pretty soon. And what they were saying was that when this day comes, the world's going to end. And he was interested. He was saying, I want to see what happens when, to people's beliefs and in cults, when prophecies don't come true, when prophecies fail. So he was sitting back and watching them, and the prophecy came and left. And one of the things that people think that's not true, but that study, they think that the finding in the study was that when prophecies fail, followers all double down. But that's not actually what happens. What happens is people do leave. There's a lot of people who will leave, but the people who don't leave not only stay, but those people double down. So it isn't like 100% of the cult doubles down. Like some people do leave to different degrees, but what it takes to stay in a cult in the face of mounting evidence the cult is full of bullshit requires increasing amounts of buy-in. And he coined the term cognitive dissonance to just kind of talk about the phenomenon of the discomfort of trying to hold two conflicting beliefs. Like this cult is the truth and they are the right path. And this cult is consistently wrong about stuff or is showing incompetence, and holding two contrasting beliefs puts a lot of pain on people, and people will go through all types of mental gymnastics to avoid that. And I feel like right now with the black liberals are like a doomsday cult. Like they have gone so crazy. We've seen that with Angela Rye just spazzing out on Breakfast Club and how these people are acting. But a lot of their world is coming crashing down. DEI is shrinking. That was going to be their salvation. The whole academic, activist, media, shill complex, path to DNC, nonprofit money, all that stuff is drying up, and they have become more and more fervent believers than ever. And this is, I think, is a perfect example. A lot of the big shills went together on Twitter to join Twitter Spaces, and this is what happened. This is crazy. Check this out, and you can see some of these names. Like this guy Chris Evans is a huge. This person who recorded this has him blocked. He's a huge Dem shill, but a lot of these people are black liberal shills. And this space is called Obama's Talk with Black Men. He was right or wrong. And listen to this.
Oh, we might not have a fucking vote. The fuck are we talking about? Y'all happy with that 85% of black men that vote for Democrats? Y'all think that's something that, oh yeah, but we no, nigga, it should be in the 90 percentile.
Now check this out. So he's like 85%. That's nothing. It should be the 90 percentile. So y'all still ain't shit. And you can see, if you should think, he went off the reservation and he's on his own. A lot of these people, like this Chris Evans guy, are giving thumbs up and hearts and laughing, and a bunch of other people are, smiling and enjoying it too. I'm not sure who this guy is talking. This is him, but he's next to Kamala Harris in his profile picture.
The fuck is we talking about? Raising up my goddamn blood pressure. Because the one time we should come together as a goddamn community to protect black women, we can't do it. I hate this shit. I hate what this goddamn election has done to our goddamn people. You make me hate niggas. I hate you niggas. I swear to fucking God. Why?
Yo, this dude went straight Clayton Bigsby, Uncle Ruckus. I hate y'all niggas. Uncle Ruckus, I hate y'all. Y'all darkity blackity black niggas.
Stay away from niggas. The fuck is we talking about? That motherfucker trying to tell us that we need to get our ass in gear.
Woo.
That's all we've been doing in these goddamn spaces. How dare you niggas?
They're
Fuck all
crashing
you
out.
niggas.
They are crashing out.
I don't even give a fuck no more.
Hit the like button.
Whatever the fuck happened, none of you niggas got $1,000 that you gonna put on your goddamn line for this goddamn election. So shut the fuck up, coming at me any cold type of way, unless you're gonna put some bread up on this goddamn election. Cause I'm willing to do that. Cause that's how sure I am about this shit.
Yeah, man. He says like Bernie Mac and Don't Be a Menace.
Cause that's how much damn for my motherfucking people I am. How dare you niggas? I'm offended like a motherfucker right now. Fuck this goddamn space. Fuck all you niggas. I'm out of here.
So somebody in the chat said he almost went hard R. Yeah, man, they're crashing out, man. I haven't seen black liberals this bad. They've been on the ropes for a while, and they're doubling down like that doomsday cult. You know, like when the prophecy came and went, and all the people who stayed with the cult started believing in the doomsday even harder. Yeah, crazy. That is nuts, man. Couldn't be me, man. But you know, whatever. But this, and the reason why I clarified about when you know prophecy fails isn't about just doubling down, but it's about, you know, some people do leave the flock. A lot of other people are turning on him. Like some of the most dedicated shills have, you know, seen the writing on the wall, and they're like, okay, this is too much. And you know, I'm gonna give some examples of that, of shills turning tail. But first, let me show one more that, you know, is staying on the plantation. Although he's not, to his credit, he didn't get as bad as this guy. But Jamal Bowman came out, and I want to like this guy, but sometimes he just does too much, man. What are we doing, black men?
Yo, black men, on the real, man, on the real, what we doing? Like, what we doing right now? I'm going to give you one reason. Under no circumstance should we be rocking with Donald Trump. One reason alone. He took out a full-page ad in the New York Times to execute 5 black boys, teenagers under 16, of a crime they did not commit.
Now talk about what a lot of black people and Democrats were doing at the same time.
Full page
Talk about the Democratic mayor Ed Koch was doing.
Ad to kill 5 black boys, our brothers, our sons, our nephews.
We let them down.
Come on, man.
A lot of us
even
did.
talking about? What else is there to say? What else is there to say? Full page ad.
And I want to be clear, I'm not saying this to defend what Donald Trump did. It was still unacceptable. I just feel like people don't really care about these boys, except for, well, not our men, but they become politically expedient to use. But I feel like as a society, we need a real reckoning with what happened to them. So and how does it serve their legacy of being unfairly accused to join the witch hunt against black men? Not saying they're the same caliber of offense, but you're basically stereotyping and scapegoating black men unfairly yourself in this speech by perpetuating this ridiculous narrative. Because again, like I always say, like straight black men are basically, our role in the community to these people is scapegoats and attack dogs. That is it. And people are getting tired of it. People are getting tired of it. But I realized something that I did not do, which is I should have let off with the actual speech, because I'm assuming everybody's already seen the speech. So first I'm gonna read this. because MSNBC, of course, got in on the game. MSNBC came in and was running interference. The very objective, fair, both sides, MSNBC, it has no agendas. MSDNC. Backlash to Barack Obama's masculinity remarks misses the mark. The former president's pointed remarks urging men to call out hypermasculinity and misogyny earned some foolish criticism by Jahan Jones. I don't know who this guy is, but I have a bunch of hunches about him. First off, let's just see who he is before we even start reading this, because this should be interesting. Hold on. Let's see who this guy is. I haven't heard from him, but they're always testing new shows. So he probably won the behind the scenes reality shows, America's Next Top Black Show. So I click on his profile. So he writes for the Readout. The Readout is Joy Reid's show. So he's not even technically directly under MSNBC. He's under Joy Reid under MSNBC. So he's a Joy Reid hire. Joy Reid is the top show right now. He's a readout writer. He's a futurist. No idea what that means. That's just a buzzword people use now. A multimedia producer. It means he does videos probably on YouTube and stuff. Focus on culture and politics. His previous projects include Black Hair Defined and Black Obituary Products. So that's a bingo square for woke Black people. And yeah, I mean he's pretty clear where his he's a DNC show. I mean he works under Joy Reid and writes for MSNBC newsletter, so that's no surprise. I'm sure if you found his Twitter, if he has one, it's gonna be full of all the usual shilling. Unfortunately, because I don't have a Twitter account, I can't easily pull up people's Twitters. It's all weird. If you try to look at somebody's profile without an actual account, it looks yeah. Who knows? Okay. Oh, interesting. I just found a tweet by him that was old. He tweeted saying that he matched with Jessica Krug, that fake Latina person who was pretending to be Jess Bambolero in academia. Y'all remember her? She pretended to be Afro Latino or something. And he says that he matched with Jessica Krug, and she called him out in their DMs for being a fake Black person and not doing enough for Black people. I guess he was revealing that to reveal that, to clown Jessica Krug. But to me, it just says, dude, you were clicking yes on Jessica Krug. If you ever saw that lady, she is not a particularly attractive lady. So I feel like it's a self-own, because if you match with her and you were DMing, that means that you're trying to hit that. So I really don't trust your credibility. Dude, you are nasty. I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean, but anyway. So anyway, we're the dumb ones. We missed the point. We're too stupid to realize that So I'm going to read what he says happened. Then I'm going to play Barack's clip so you can see if he's right that we're too stupid to see what happened. So there's been a media-driven. See, it's media-driven and not the people. We as citizens are too stupid to decide for ourselves. It's the media that is tricking us because we're so dopey into, not falling for the Hucklebuck and moving on to a different dance. There's been a media-driven outrage cycle over former President Barack Obama's comments about Black men and misogyny last week. Much of the backlash is unwarranted. For those who aren't chronically online, here's how it went down. Addressing workers at a Harris Walz campaign field office in Pittsburgh on Thursday, Obama spoke candidly about the fact that misogyny could lead some men to withhold support from Harris. Obama spoke to a room largely consisting of Black Harris campaign workers and supporters, including several men. Some of the former president's comments touched on the reasons why Black men in particular should reject that type of misogyny. But a full reading of his speech shows he wasn't singling out Black men or even assuming that the men in the room harbor these views. Y'all know some of these brothers. That's true to the African American community. It's true to the Latino community. It's true in the white community. But I'm talking to y'all right now in this part of Pittsburgh. So one of my biggest messages I think today is, if you're here, I'm assuming you're convinced, or else you're just trying to get something free. But our job is to challenge and talk to the people who are still on the sidelines. And in that conversation, part of this is about issues, but part of it is about dignity, and part of it is about character. The media-driven backlash, he keeps saying it again, he's trying to tell people that they're being brainwashed over these comments has been frustrating to say the least. Op-eds abound denouncing Obama for lecturing Black men or blaming Black men for Democrats' purported electoral problems. These positions seemingly ignore the fact that Obama effectively made the same pitch to men more broadly during his speech in Pittsburgh last Thursday. So basically, the fact that he said African American community, Latino community, and the white community, I guess, supposed to make it okay because he gave a token this to the other communities, or token accusation. So he's trying to focus on that part and ignore the rest of the speech. So let's see. We're going to look at it in context and see if he's right. This is the actual speech in question. Okay, so we're going to load it up now. Set up. Oh, and something else I want to say real quick. Did you catch? I know it's going to pass off as a joke, but did you catch a part where he said, get something for free? Like, I feel like that was something slick about that too. I let that slide. I'm going to say, but what's that little part about y'all might get something for free? Like, he can't help but let his little contempt for a Black American show a lot of times, I think. I mean, I know somebody might accuse me. Someone accused me of reading too much into that, but I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know what y'all think. What do y'all think about that one? Oh, actually, Ashton Poole said the same thing. Okay, so it's not just me. I was on a different page, but yeah. So Ashton agrees with me. Yeah, that was very weird and slick to me. I didn't like that part.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to
Well, a couple of things. And I saw info touch on this. My understanding, based on reports that I'm hearing, like, okay, so Twitter, like, basically, you don't know what's happening at all. You're just looking at Twitter, and you have interns looking at Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is not in the streets at all. He does not associate with regular people. He doesn't know anything about anything. And That's why this thing went over so bad. Because if you look at Twitter and the morons on Twitter, he probably follows. He brought that everybody was on board with this, because all the people he's following, they're still doing the Hucklebuck. So he's like, "Oh, the Hucklebuck's still a popular dance." He thinks it's I'm gonna dust off my bell bottoms. He thinks it's time to start dancing again. Uh, it's pretty funny, but yeah, he got bad intelligence that the Hucklebuck is a popular dance, and it still is.
To college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
Now, how do you assume she grew up like these guys? You have no idea if she grew up like these guys just because they're both black, and he was able to get away with that, like saying, "I grew up just like you," even though he was raised by a white mother and not by his black side. I think one of the great things that Yvette Carnell said a long time ago, Yvette Carnell said that we thought that we were electing a black man with a white mother, but we were actually electing a white man with a black father. And this is not me gatekeeping blackness. I'm just saying that if he was raised with his white father, his white mother, and for a time with his Asian stepfather, I mean, he was not raised culturally black. And again, he's bringing out the old playbook. This is verse 2 of the Hucklebuck. I grew up just like you, and I think it's not flying anymore. I will give him credit though. He has stayed pretty slim and sharp, man. That's a well cut suit. I respect his tailoring game.
Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital.
What are these concrete proposals? We're going to talk about that later. Because her website was empty of proposals for the longest time. She came up, thanks to this fool, she had to come up with an agenda for black men on the fly, and it is terrible.
In our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers, and our fathers, and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act. So everybody's got health and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? But, because of Pookie might be.
Now, did he just say Pookie? Did he just say... No, he didn't say that, did he? I feel like no one talked about that. I think he just said Pookie. I actually missed that the first time. Am I wrong? Hold on. I'm going to play that back. I think Pookie might be. Hold on.
Because of Pookie might be.
No, I don't want to get this wrong. I got to go to the transcript. Are you able to go to the transcript on this? Transcript. I don't want to believe you said Pookie. Yeah, he did. Holy shit. He said cousin Pookie. Did y'all know this? I feel like nobody was talking about this. In all the stuff I was seeing. That's fucking crazy. No, it's in the transcript. I can't believe it. I can't believe that went under the radar. He said cousin Pookie. Oh my god. 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 He is really doing the Hucklebuck. He is doing the Hucklebuck, man. He's doing the Hucklebuck. You can't tell him shit. Holy shit. Pookie, cousin Pookie. Ah. Oh man. Woo. Oh yeah, he was Hucklebucker, man. You could have thought of his thing. He brought out cousin Pookie. Woo! Yeah. Come on, Obama. Let him know. Forever 2008. Oh God, I cannot believe that. I think that was missed. Okay. So you gonna tell me he's not singling out black men? Or yeah, he would just that's crazy. That is crazy. Whew. Man, the greatest hits, man. He is playing them. Huh.
You know, cousin Pookie. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses.
He loves the word excuses. That's just on the Morehouse people too. Like there's this entitlement, like saying like you need to make you not voting for me is excuses. Like that's how entitled I am to your obeisance. That you don't have valid reasons. Like you don't tell white people that they're making excuses not to vote for him. He fights for the vote, but black people, I'm so entitled to your vote, or I'm so entitled to your whatever. He could use excuses a lot in his political career, but only with black people.
I got a problem with that because part of it makes me think. I'm speaking to men directly. Part of it makes me think that you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And
so again, this is another example of him saying black men are deadbeats. Even though there's been like studies that have shown that black men are some of the best fathers. And that especially when you compare black men who are present then versus men of other races that are present, they are actually considered to be more active in their kids communities, so it's really kind of full of shit for him to even say that. Again, this is not 2000. You can't keep playing the Hucklebuck, like you can look at the study, black dads are more involved in activities with the children than other groups, and this was from the CDC. And black fathers were most likely to have been involved in activities with their children compared to white and Hispanic fathers. So again, he still thinks it's a different era.
When we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody
Now here's part of the problem I have, right? Now he's using Twitter talking points. This is why I think he has interns searching Twitter, and I think his sources that are telling him stuff are just these black liberal dummies on Twitter all day. Uh, that was the old narrative he say all the time. Whenever you complain about anything about one of these people, a bunch of black woke people would tell you, "Hey, uh, black women on the front lines for you. Black queer women. They didn't say black women or black queer women or black queer women and gays are on the front line for black men, acting as if black men don't do their own protesting. That black men just sat at home waiting around for someone to protest for them. Um, like we're just totally useless. As if like when Ferguson popped off, the streets weren't full of black men wilding out and going crazy protesting. Like I really, really hate that narrative. Like it's so patronizing. Like I'm not saying black women were not protesting. Yeah, they were protesting, and they were doing stuff, but this kind of new narrative is almost like, the black men just weren't even there almost. They were just I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so crazy. Um that they keep saying that um but also like, the second thing I would say too is, let's say it was true. Let's get worst case scenario. Let's say black men weren't doing their own protesting. They weren't doing anything. They were just sitting around. They were sitting around just not doing jack. What tangible difference did the people protesting get compared to um the people sat on their ass for black people at the end of the day? What was accomplished? Like, picture somebody telling you, "Yo, um I fought for your rights every time um someone tried to do something to you." It's like, okay, but you failed every single time. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I never said this A for effort mindset with protesting. Um, the fact that you spent like 8 years doing it and didn't get shit, after a while, you should have done something else. Like, what did you guys actually accomplish with all this protesting? You got yourself jobs. DeRay got himself podcasts and speaking gigs and book deals. Um, Brittany Pacquiao got herself a White House job and different government jobs and different panels that she gets to speak on. These people all hooked themselves up. All the citizen reporters that came up off the back of Ferguson, got themselves into the media. Black Lives Matter got themselves different book deals, memoir deals, Warner Brothers production deals, mansions. Like you did that for yourselves. You didn't do that for black people. Like the only thing that was accomplished by that protesting, like you hijacked the protest from the real protesters, jumped in front of the cameras, you basically photobombed a bunch of protests and took them over, made them your own, and then used them to enrich yourselves. And like, I don't think it's fair to discredit black women in all the protesting, even though that's the narrative they want to tell you, because Black Lives Matter took over the protesting optics and declared themselves the face of it. But those people accomplished nothing. They got themselves mansions and fame and clout and nothing for the people. Uh, what did they accomplish? Oscars so white. They got some black people some Oscars. DEI jobs. Those DEI jobs went to the type of black people who are not George Floyd. Executives and college educated black people who are connected to the corporations. It's you have black people in commercials, like someone said here, Dylan Gray. On every streaming platform now, there's now a line of black shows and black support black content. They got us that. Like, but also like, what kind of sense does that make? Like, because first off, Kamala's not those people. She was raised Indian. She's estranged from her black father as well. I'm not saying she's not genetically black, but she's not from the same culture as these guys. Like, stop lying to them. You know, she's not. She's not Big Mama. She's not Mima. She's not any of these people. You know, stop trying to fool people to bait and switch. This is kind of why people say the whole tether thing. You know, like you can't do the Hucklebuck anymore. You know, but yeah, this whole thing like you owe black women because they protested for you, which A, I don't think black women get the credit for all the protests, and B, the protests didn't accomplish anything anyway. I'm sorry, but they didn't, because the old protesting was just one arm of it, but they were lobbying in Washington, they were meeting with LBJ, they were trying to get bills passed, they were doing stuff. The spectacle wasn't the end goal, but now in this age of social media and clout and attention, people just think that protesting is the goal. Like, the protesting was to bring eyes to the injustice that black people were receiving, and to create like international spectacle to shame America. And especially in the time of the Cold War, that was a huge propaganda tool, because America is trying to win versus the Russians in the third world. And the Russians were using the mistreatment of how America treats its own minorities, its own backyard, as a way to recruit communism in the third world. That's one of the reasons why JFK created the Peace Corps, because he wanted to create positive PR for America in the third world, because communism was making such inroads in the third world. And one of the big things they used to do, you could see it with um who's that woman in the Vietnam War who was doing propaganda. Um, I forget her name, but they talked about her. Hanoi Hannah. If you ever look up Hanoi Hannah, she was she used to do these broadcasts in Vietnam, and she'd basically be telling the black soldiers, black GI, the look how America treats you. But that's how let me show Hanoi Hannah. I think it's pretty good. But yeah, Hanoi Hannah was basically about and the five uh yeah, the Five Bloods did a clip of with Hanoi Hannah. This isn't the real clip. This is acting. But if you look at it, you can see.
Black GI in Memphis, Tennessee. A white man assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. King also opposed the U.S. war in Vietnam.
I have to keep I have to keep stopping it because of copyright. Actually, let me not even risk it. If everything gets a copyright strike. But basically, they used to use the protest imagery and the civil rights imagery in the communist world to not just demoralize black soldiers who were sent to fight, like black GIs, but they would use it to show Africans and Asians and other people, don't throw in your lot with America, because they can't even treat their own people of color who are American-born citizens with respect. How are they gonna treat you? And a lot of the protests were designed to cause that, like to create international shame in in the global community, so that to kind of put an end to that shame. It's also a big reason why America's immigration policies changed as well. Like, they had to do something about the black eye that the protests were causing, and the South was crashing out and going crazy. They were like sicking dogs on people, and they were shooting hoses at people. Then that footage would get sent across too, and that would be used to propagandize against America abroad. Like, the protests weren't just cathartic. Like, these new protests are just catharsis. They're just going out there to show out and do a Soul Train line and just take videos of themselves and just be like, it's like a I voted button. I protested. And then you go and just brag to people that you protested and you did stuff for them and they owe you. And you hope to build a brand off your protesting. And thanks, Drew Thomas. Much appreciated. Yeah, so it's yeah, I just hate this whole thing about people are protesting for you, you owe them. But okay, even if you did protest for you, what does it do with Kamala? She wasn't protesting. Like, so if someone does something for me, I'm obligated to vote for somebody who shares the same identity. Like, you know, um, black men have done great stuff for me. Should I vote for Alan Keyes when he was running? Like, what sense does that make? Like, even if you want to do something for the black women in your life because you appreciate what black women have done for you. Thanks, Deborah Hamilton. Much appreciated. Right? Say you want to do something for the black women who did something in your life. What I would say is, what are your policies going to be to help black women? Not, well, you have the same identity as the person who I want to pay back, so I'm going to vote for you. Like, that like makes no sense to me. Like, you should show me what you're actually going to do for black women. But the other thing that I don't like about the speech that he's doing is he's doing this thing which I really can't stand, which is, and this has been a legacy of intersectionality. Even though intersectionality, I think, is kind of a wrap, I think its effects aren't totally gone. And one of them is black women have become almost their own race, separate from the rest of the black community, especially black men. And same for black men. Like, so black men, she's not you, but she's an affiliated group. Like, why, even if you want to do a representation argument, why can't you say, as a black person, vote for a black person? But this is kind of ideas in, okay, she's a different group than you. She's a different species than you. She's a different interest group than you, but do something for her. Like, I just find it very strange the extent to which black men and black women are treated as two separate things. Like, there's no sense of community in the messaging anymore. Like, a lot of these black liberal feminist women have created this narrative, and the DNC in its full stupidity has embraced it. But regular black people don't think like these career strivers, these feminist radicals, this BLM constituency. When I say BLM, I don't mean general Black Lives Matter. I mean like the Black Lives Matter global organization, like the main network. They're very big into breaking down, taxonomizing every single black group into its own thing, like black gays, black trans, black women, black men, and treat each one like its own group that's competing with the other ones. And like, blackness is this loose coalition of these different groups that barely get along. And yeah, this idea of like, black men voting for black women isn't voting for yourself. You're helping a group that has kind of picked you up. You're a lower group that has been supported. It makes you feel like when a lot of white groups tell black people that, hey, we the white gays or the white Jews march besides Martin Luther King, you owe us. And they treat black people like they're betraying them if they haven't voted or done things the way they wanted. Like, a lot of white Jewish people said that when they saw black people supporting Palestine, and this is kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, black men, you're a lower group that was carried by this other group, black women, and now you owe them back. And I just hate that legacy that we have now of, this weird balkanized blackness. Yeah, it's great. Like, Latinos, Asians, white people, they aren't really balkanized like this. It's really weird and annoying. Thank you for the super sticker. See, much appreciated. And it's just, there's so many things to hate about the speech, but let's just finish it out.
Who has a history of denigrating you?
You have a history of denigrating them. Like, what are you talking about? You're talking about Donald Trump. Don't vote for him. We did the history of denigrating you. You have a history of denigrating Kamala Harris, with her time as a prosecutor's history of denigrating them. Like, stop it.
Because you think that's a sign of strength? Because that's what being a man is? Putting women down? That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
Who are these people who even say this? Like who are the people that are even saying this? Have yet to see an example of a critical mass of people saying this. It's such bullshit. Like, it's, yeah, exactly. Who the fuck is he talking to? And this guy at MSNBC is trying to gaslight people into saying it's a media created, as if people can't see for themselves how insulting he is. Yeah, it's just, I saw his male energy. Like what are people saying? Yeah, man, I saw his male energy. That's why I voted for him. Especially considering like they voted like over 85% for Hillary and for Biden. Like what is this idea they're so taken by Trump's manhood when they voted for Hillary to the extent that they did? Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. But I still can't believe. Have you seen people talk about the Pookie thing? I think people missed it because someone was talking at the same time. But that's crazy. I can't believe. I'm glad we played the whole thing because yeah. So yeah, he's still doing the Hucklebuck, but I'm gonna show you some more reactions to this thing. It's something to behold. Are y'all enjoying the stream tonight? I hope y'all are. I'm enjoying it. Check this out. I was gonna play a bunch of the articles talking about it, but there's no point. I was gonna name the list of places that this gained traction with. NPR, Forbes, I think Bloomberg, New York Times, CNN. So this got a lot of coverage. It was even a main speech. He was talking to campaign workers. Those people in that room, that's a Kamala Harris campaign office. So those are black men who are already signed up to campaign for Kamala Harris. So they even just regular random black men. Like, that's how you're treating the men that's how you're talking to the men who are already there for your candidate. Like, he can't even muster respect for them. And arguably, one could say, oh, he's trying to teach them what to say when they canvass, which is going to be terrible. Can you imagine arming all those young black people, if any of them are dumb enough to do it, to go out to, first off, to teach them that the black people that they're going to reach out to are basically pookies, and this is why they're doing it. Like, you're basically arming these people with the worst talking points ever. That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, basically a lot of places that would not have covered this before, I think, really dogpiled him, in the mainstream media, and I was kind of shocked by it. Business Insider, um, admonished him for it. Like, Business Insider criticized him. This isn't just Jesse Jackson. Before, it was just certain, civil rights or, very pro-black people, but even Business Insider was like, check this out. I think part of it is because I don't even think they deep down think it's going to work. I just think they want a scapegoat to blame when things go wrong. Barack Obama's message to black voters angers some Democrats. Why it matters. And they said any critical erosion in black support could prove costly for Democrats in November. So, I mean, this goes to show you this is no longer just a handful of Tommy Curry fans or black socialists or, some weird radicals. Like even white people are starting to realize you're going to fuck it up for everybody if you keep it up. You know, I think what's really ironic about this, I think this is going to alienate a lot of black men, and they might end up creating the exact divide they're preaching against because then get sick of hearing about this, and instead of taking the lesson away of that, damn, maybe we should have stopped accusing these people of this stuff. These people are so allergic to learning from their mistakes. All they're going to do is use it as proof that they were right to talk that way. They're like, see, look how the black men came out and vote. And they're going to use it as an excuse to say that, they were right to act that way and that they should keep doing it. That's the worst part about this. They're not going to learn the right lessons if this ends up alienating these black men. They're going to turn it into confirmation bias. Yeah, the computer has really speeded up as I've really sped up as I've gone through the tabs. So that's good. So yeah, so Forbes did it, whatever. So I think that's the reason why Kamala has had to go on Breakfast Club. This was even announced last Friday. Today's technically a holiday, it's Monday. So the first working weekday, that's not a holiday, they rushed Kamala out to the black outlet with the highest black eyeball count. You can't tell me that wasn't response to this dumb speech. They are really scrambling and doing damage control over this. It's that bad. And she also came out with this agenda for black men that is crazy. Y'all have to see it. But I'm gonna share a couple more reactions just to show how bad this has been. And this is another when prophecy fails moment of another guy who just won't learn from the mistake. Check this out. This is guy, son of Killmonger. First off, you shouldn't even have that name and be a DNC shill. I don't understand how you could be a DNC shill and have the name son of Killmonger. Like, why are they lecturing white women like this? The way white women supported Trump, like it's crazy. Or you have the most inroads to gain with white men. I don't understand why they're so. So the guy, sons of Killmonger, and disciples of Dark Branding, because that's a very Killmonger thing to do to support an ex-prosecutor. Dear black men that are on the fence, Barack Obama is giving you your marching orders, and it's just so arrogant. This idea that Barack Obama is our god, like we listen to him, like it's another thing that these people do. They think that the people under them are just sheep that they dangle. This is like when white people tell you, well, Martin Luther King thought this, as if we're powerless to do anything that Martin Luther King didn't agree with. Like we're like he's our pope or our rabbi or our messiah. But come on, like this ain't these people don't know real black people or are out of touch with regular black people to think like this. Dear black men that are on the fence, Barack Obama is giving you a marching order. So I'm not even giving you an excuse to vote for Kamala based on appealing to your interests. I'm telling you, hey, stupid, your boss told you what to do, so go do it. If you care about black women, especially the one that carried you in her belly for 9 months, you will vote for Kamala Harris and put your ego, I guess, aside. He didn't finish it. Sincerely, man up. So now you're calling out people's manhood and telling them, look at them niggas. The king of all niggas told you what to do. Now go do it. It's again, these people really move like white supremacists. They argue like white supremacists. They talk like white supremacists. It's crazy. They use the same rhetorical gambits even. So that's what I'm saying. These people are crashing out. The cult is doubling down instead of backing up, but not everybody is on board. This is what a part that I call the shit lib revolt. Like a lot of liberals are even like, yo, this is too much. Oh, big shout, Ken. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, sir, boss. Obama eyes gets on down to the polls. I'm gonna leave that up. That fucking cracks me up. Check out this guy, Eugene Scott. He wrote an article and he goes, and this guy, as far as I know, he's usually pretty liberal and Democrat. Out of all the groups, black men are the backbone of men in the Democratic Party. It's time they were treated with respect and dignity they deserve and not spoken to like children who need to be told what to do. And this is the article. Obama is blaming black men for the Democratic Party's failures. So the white people aren't down with it anymore. The white people, they don't want to do the Hucklebuck anymore. The white people want a new dance. They've moved on. The black people aren't doing the Hucklebuck anymore. And he goes on. And this is the proof of they're talking about shit like revolt. People who are his core demographic are turning on him. In both 2008 and 2012, I was proud to be an Ohio delegate for President Barack Obama. So this guy is not conservative. He's not a moderate. And he's stumped for Obama before. So I was shocked to hear what former President Obama had to say while speaking to black men during a surprise visit to Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign field office in Pittsburgh. That's the worst part. It's a surprise visit. So he just came in and just blew up the whole fucking campaign. But first off, why are you surprised? Because like I've shown earlier in the stream, she's been saying this shit. His words made my jaw hit the floor. In fact, they made my blood boil. We're not doing the Hucklebuck in 2024. Yeah, so I was infuriated to hear this response, these remarks. No other group of voters is talked to like this, as if they are children. But it's not just the paternalistic tone that had been raised, it's the underlying message in his words that black men are misogynistic and can't bring themselves to vote for a woman. The vilification of our men is out of line. For starters, it's false. Black men are socialized in the same patriarchal Black men are socialized in the same patriarchal society that every other American man is socialized in. Yet, when Secretary Hillary Clinton ran for president in 2018, 81% of black men voted for her, while only 32% of white men did so. So, yeah, it's the same thing I was saying, that it's like if they were so afraid of voting for women, like why were they still in support for Hillary? It's ridiculous. And even if that guy who worked for Joy Reid was defending the article by claiming, oh well, at one point he said black men, white men, Asian men, whatever. Even if he did say that, white men voted 32%, black men voted 81% for Hillary Clinton. It's not fair to lump us with everybody else. So first off, he was targeting black men, but even if he was spreading the blame, that's still not fair because black men, that would be like trying to lump black women in with white women's voting of Trump, like saying, hey, black women, I know why you guys such Trump supporters, and I'm not just targeting you, I'm targeting white women too. Black women wouldn't go for that because they're like, we don't care if you include white women or Asian women, we're not them. They voted like 50% for Trump. We voted less than 5% for Trump. Don't lump us in with them. And I feel the same thing applies here. So that MSNBC show who tried to disingenuously claim that, oh, they actually, at some point he mentioned all the other races, that's still not a good excuse at the end of the day. So miss me with that, please. And Romo's if you didn't vote, we're gonna be in a whole heap of trouble. Thanks BL for the payment. Yeah, oh my god. This stuff is crazy. Oh man, if they lost Jason Johnson, if they lost Jason Johnson, then forget about it. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy if they lost Jason Johnson. But I'll show you this guy they lost. They lost Bunk from The Wire. I don't know if y'all know about Bunk's history. His real name is Wendell Pierce. I should call him by his government name and not call him by his character name. But most people know him as Bunk. Bunk even said, Wendell Pierce. I mean, I don't think he minds being called Bunk because he still has a picture from The Wire in his profile where he's dressed as a cop. But awful message. The party has to stop scapegoating black men. Black men aren't the problem. White men and white women are. No other group votes at 87 to 90% for Dems but black folk, men and women. That is a false flag. Black men voting for Trump is insignificant. This accusatorial tone will make some black men stay home, which is worse. Black men are questioning our party to find out what their loyalty for decades earns them. That's good. That's healthy. Democrats have the record to stand on and should embrace the challenge. So he still brings it back to his shilling, but he knows that just tagging black men is not going to work. But after touring this country, specifically engaging black men, I will not let my party's leader speak condescending toward them. Like, we are not doing the Hucklebuck. It is not happening. So yeah, he's doing his barbershop talks. He's doing his thing. And for people who don't know, I just want you to know how serious this guy is for the Democrats. This is a man. This man fought a woman for supporting Bernie Sanders on behalf of Hillary. He was arrested in the hotel for battery for fighting a woman for being a Bernie Sanders supporter instead of a Hillary supporter. See, so supposedly he was so upset that this woman was supporting Bernie Sanders instead of Hillary. She wasn't even a Republican. She was just a different type of Democrat. He followed the group of people to the hotel room. He followed them to the hotel room to argue for Hillary Clinton, tried to force his way inside, hit a woman in the head, and ripped the hood off her hoodie. It's not funny, but it's fucking crazy. They had to try to pull him away while the person he was attacking tried to get away. Yeah, this man is he will get physical with his shilling. He will put some muscle behind his shilling, and you lost that dude. Yeah, man. That's the people you're losing now. That's crazy. Yeah, throwing two pieces for a super predator Hillary. It's that's the world we're living in, man. Even Bunk has had enough. He's like, when you lose a shill like that, man. But anyway, we're gonna end it with talking about Kamala Harris's agenda, because she came out. She's like, I gotta have my agenda, man. The shit libs are turning against me, even the black libs. Matter of fact, man, let me tell you how bad it got. This is crazy. Even Fox News, and I'm not stupid. I know Fox News doesn't care about black men, but even Fox News has started capitalizing on this. Look at this.
Gillian, according to new polls from the Wall Street Journal, swing state voters gave former President Trump the edge, a broad one on the economy and border security. And he will likely make his case next hour on how Vice President Harris has bungled both issues. Karl Rove is a former Deputy White House Chief of Staff and a Fox News contributor. We'll get to what the president's going to say on immigration in a second, but first to the economy. This was something that former President Barack Obama intimated about in his speech in Pittsburgh yesterday, when he was literally calling out black men, saying, quote, "We have yet to see the same kinds of energy and turnout in all corners of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers." There's no question that Harris is starting to bleed support among young African-American men. Our Richard Fowler said last hour, that's because there's a lot of people in that group who like Donald Trump's message on the economy and jobs.
Now, see, what's interesting is they're actually creating this narrative that the Republicans are running with now. Like, now trying to spin it into a positive thing, like, hey, Donald Trump is so good for black men that that they're starting to turn. So this untrue narrative that they've started has actually become something that they've been able to use on on the right. So you're kind of giving them a weapon to look less racist that's based on a lie.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was an unfortunate tone by the former president. It was sort of like lecturing. It was sort of like, why don't you boys get your act together? And instead of making a case that that the future would be brighter and better with the policies of his favorite candidate, Kamala Harris. Yes, the Democrats are suffering. She is suffering particularly from.
But you see, like, so now even they're saying, why are you talking to them like children? You're just ordering them around like they're stooges. And that's crazy. When you have Republicans chiding you for mistreating black men, you've really lost the plot when you've opened the door to allow that to happen. You've really fucked up. And some more clips. Yeah, Drew Thomas, you're right. This very self-congratulatory. What you said there about back when I was running, it's very, very self-congratulatory. Here's
They
Nina Thomas.
need to
I mean,
appeal to the
Nina Turner, I mean.
need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice
Someone else who wasn't a delegate for him in Ohio in both elections.
president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women.
Yeah. So I mean, you see it. It's this has been a real loser of a thing. But on the bright side, I mean, look, we've gotten a lot of the unfortunate parts of the 2000 out the paint. Justin Timberlake is gone. Obama's getting washed up. Like the 2000s had a lot of fuckery that I'm glad we're clearing out expeditiously. Like there's a lot of things that had to go from the 2000s. Eminem's album flopped. Like the 2000s is a bad memory. We have to get rid of a lot of it. So here is Kamala Harris's agenda for black men. This is going to save her. Here we go. Everyone said you can't just talk to black men like children. You gotta have a plan. So let's see what it is. Kamala Harris will deliver for black men. Those men definitely look black. Let's go. What's happening here? Vice President Harris will deliver for black men and their families. Vice President Harris is laying out an agenda to give black men the tools to build wealth and achieve financial freedom, lower costs for themselves and their families, and protect their rights, addressing the issues that black men across the country have told her are their top concerns. Provide 1 million forgivable loans up to $20,000 to black entrepreneurs and others who have a good idea but don't have the resources, connections, or access to capital to get the business off the ground. Here's the problem with this. First off, Obama tried to do special things for black men. Remember my brother's keeper? And all these black feminists raked him over the coals. I don't think we have a climate anymore where you can easily do things for black men anymore. I think you can still do it for black women, but the Republicans are striking those down. They have a lot of entrepreneurial things for black women that they try to do, and the Republicans have been suing those under equal protection. But I don't know if the black women liberals are going to play along with this. Even though I don't think she's really going to do any of this. But if they had the foresight, they would just keep quiet and let her promise it, and then when the black men voted, then complain or whatever, or just wait for it to not happen. But it'll be interesting to see if she'll be allowed to even promise anything just to black men, because I saw how badly it went for Barack Obama, and back then the black man hate wasn't even that big yet in the woke black community. Launch a national health equity initiative focused on black men. What does that mean? I don't know. Legalize marijuana at the federal level to break down unjust legal barriers that hold black men and other. So she's gonna give them a chance to sell weed. I mean, there's a lot of money in weed, so, but I don't think it's enough. I mean, because not just the legality of weed that keeps black men from competing with white people in that space, but white people are very well capitalized. It costs a lot of money to break into that field. Lower costs by enacting the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging for food and groceries. Well, good luck with that. I mean, I think price fixing has a mixed history. I don't know. We'll see. Lower rent and provide down payment assistance to triple the number of first-time black homeowners. Something is gone from here. Crypto was on this page before. Where is it? It looks like they might have taken out the crypto because here we go. The crypto is still there. So she brings that up, and then she brings up some bad stuff that Trump has said to black men. And of course, the usual, Trump falsely accused exonerated 5 and called for them to receive a death penalty. Again, a lot of Democrats have as well. And his past and his lies about Haitians. So now Haitians are being weaponized, which is fine, whatever. I'm sure a lot of Haitians are mad at Trump, and they should be. If he's reelected, things will get worse. In the Project 2025, stop and frisk, whatever. So she resorts back to scare tactics, but then back to her promises. So she took a break from the promises to do some scaring, but now back to the promises. Vice President Harris will build an opportunity economy. She does opportunity economy. I know what that means, where everyone has opportunity to not just get by, but to get ahead. She knows that blah, 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 blah. What's your boilerplate? This year, she launched a first of its kind nationwide economic opportunity tour to help entrepreneurs access the capital and resources they need. So more entrepreneur stuff, grow your wealth. Again, I don't know if entrepreneurship, we don't really have a lot of money to compete in entrepreneurial space. So I don't think you should bank saving the whole black community on entrepreneurs. But also, if you read E. Franklin Frazier's old study, Black Bourgeoisie, he talks about how a big problem in the black community is too many of our businesses are focused on the same things, restaurant and food services, barbershops, etc. So we don't really have a good broad base to form a parallel black economy. And I think there's a limit to how many of these businesses these people's communities can support. I think we need to create education, other things that will allow for a broader type of black business to even exist. And I don't think right now there's enough black people with those qualifications to create a wide enough range for entrepreneurship. But again, people need seed money for these things as well. Support a regulatory framework for cryptocurrency and other digital assets, so black men who invest in and own these assets are protected. So you're going to drive black men into crypto. She is not doing that for black men, by the way. She has received a lot of money from the cryptocurrency agency, and basically from the cryptocurrency lobby, I mean, not agency, and basically funneling black men into crypto and creating a regulatory environment to promote crypto is gonna help those people out a lot. Launch a national health equity initiative focused on Black men that addresses sickle cell disease, diabetes, whatever. Okay. Legalizing recreational marijuana and creating opportunities for Black men to succeed in this new industry. She will. This keep repeating the same 5 points over and over. So loans to Black entrepreneurs that will be breaking down unnecessary barriers to employment. How? I don't know. Yeah, none of it is really impressing me. But if you look at what is happening with the crypto space, and I could show you something that is pretty interesting. I'm gonna find it really quickly. They are donating insane. They're donating an insane amount of money to both candidates, and they are covering themselves so that they're good no matter who wins. And you can see the donations that have been I'm gonna play something real quick.
Celebrity and political.
It says crypto has bought the 2000 election. I'm gonna play this on high speed so we can get through it fast. We're not gonna listen to the whole thing.
With a bit over a month to go till the US elections this November, it might surprise you to learn that the crypto industry has spent almost $120 million already this year in political contributions, meaning that crypto makes up for almost half of all corporate political contributions in this election cycle. I'm sure you've seen all of the political adverts telling you how important this industry is to the average American and how you should vote for a crypto-friendly candidate. No? Well, that would be because that's not how the advertisements work. The contributors know that the average American doesn't care one bit about crypto. When the super PACs funded by the crypto industry spend money to influence races, either by attacking crypto skeptics or boosting crypto supporters, the ads never mention crypto at all. A few of you are possibly nodding your head saying, yep, it'll be Trump. He'll be on their payroll. After all, he famously called Bitcoin a scam against the dollar in 2021, and then a bit over a year later, licensed his image for a series of NFTs. This summer, he even flew to Nashville to speak at a Bitcoin conference, where he said that if he was elected, he would fire the head of the SEC and appoint someone who will build the future, not block the future. He even promised to create a strategic crypto reserve, whatever that is, saying that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet, I guess overtaking El Salvador. But no, it's not just Trump. According to Bloomberg, while lots of money has gone to Republicans, the majority of the money from the crypto industry has been spent on influencing Democrats. Republicans are not too happy about this. A GOP strategist involved in Senate races told NBC that the spending on Democrats risks hurting Trump since his allies are being attacked. Instead of picking a side in the election, the crypto industry has put together a super PAC with no focus other than advancing the interest of crypto corporations. They've raised a massive sum of money that's sending the message to politicians that if they commit to advancing pro-crypto policies, they'll get help, and if they oppose the industry, it could end their political careers. This spending has been effective too. In the primaries earlier this year, crypto PAC-backed candidates were big winners. According to the data, out of 42 primary races where crypto-backed super PACs intervened, their preferred candidate won 86% of the time. Politicians are bending to the will of the crypto industry too. The American Prospect reports that both beneficiaries of crypto campaign spending and their opponents, the ones who have received no help, are desperately endorsing crypto. Hours before Trump's speech at the Nashville Bitcoin conference, a group of 14 Democratic lawmakers released an open letter to the DNC urging them to endorse cryptocurrency policies that would support the crypto industry. All 14 signatories appear to have received support from crypto super PACs. A few weeks after the open letter was published, Vice President Harris gave a speech saying that it's important for the United States to maintain its dominance in blockchain technology. Her campaign policy document, under a heading of sectors that are critical for our economic and national security, included the suggestion of investing in technologies like digital assets. The Washington Post reported last week that she's signaling support for the expansion of the cryptocurrency industry and was rebuffing claims that she would seek a crackdown on the sector. In a separate article, they reported that she promised donors in New York City a safer business environment for digital assets. Mark Cuban, who's described in the press as one of Kamala Harris's most influential political surrogates, told guests at a fundraiser last week that Harris's team opposes regulation through litigation and suggested that Gary Gensler could be removed from his role at the SEC.
So Mark Cuban is hugely for crypto. He's one of her economic surrogates, and he's promising that Gary Gensler, who's the SEC guy who has not been really in favor of crypto, will be fired if Harris is elected. So she's really in the pocket of crypto. So what do you think is up with that random bullet point of we're gonna create this regulatory framework of making it easier for crypto to help black men? She's not doing it for black men. She has a lot of money from the crypto people, and she's using this black men thing as a low-key way to help this other agenda. And I bet you there's a lot of other weird cross purposes with her other promises too, where it's going to help a lot of other people
if Harris is elected. Cuban noted that Harris's team used no uncertain terms to express their lack of support for the SEC's current approach to regulation. See ya, Gensler, you leaving is worth a point in GDP growth, he finished up with. So who is behind these massive political donations? Why are Americans seeing so many campaign commercials paid for by the crypto industry that never get around to mentioning crypto? And is it true, as the crypto industry claims, that 50 million Americans own cryptocurrencies and that its legal treatment is one of American voters' top concerns? Before we go any further, let me introduce this week.
Okay, you pretty much get the point. Someone said crypto is gambling. The whole stock market's gambling. It's all gambling. I mean, Nvidia is moving like a penny stock. You mean somebody's not gambling? It's all gambling. Crypto is the more obvious gamble that helps hide that the whole thing is gambling. But that's a whole different topic. We'll talk about that a different day. Yeah, so that's the real reason why she threw that in there. And I will add this too. CNBC 3 days ago, crypto donors warm up to Kamala Harris. Ad. Sorry about that. Did not know there was an ad, but it's like 7 minutes to the ad, 7 seconds to the ad. So we'll see. 3, 2, 1.
Election cycle is the rise of crypto super PACs and the impact they're making on both sides of the aisle. Let's get to Mackenzie Sagalos with that story. Morning, Mackenzie.
Hey, good morning, Carl. So those crypto super PACs, which are outraising the big banks and oil this cycle, are now starting to warm up to Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris. An FEC filing just out this week shows that the Ripple Labs co-founder Chris Larson donated $1 million in the XRP token to the Future Forward super PAC. Now, that committee is supporting the VP's run for the White House and began accepting donations in digital tokens back in September. All in, Larson has given a total of around $1.9 million to support Harris's campaign. Now, Ripple is also one of multiple crypto firms fighting SEC Chair Gary Gensler in court. The chief legal officer of Uniswap, a decentralized exchange battling claims that it violated U.S. securities laws, has also given money to the Harris Action Fund. Anthony Scaramucci of Skybridge Capital, who says that he's among a group of crypto advocates working with Harris to develop her campaign's policies on digital assets, has given to 2 PACs supporting the Democratic nominee. And then there's
Scaramucci was the guy under Trump, in case y'all forget.
Venture capitalist Ben Horowitz, who maintains a sizable portfolio of crypto companies. The A16Z co-founder and his partner, Mark Andreessen, said in July that they were planning to make significant donations to PACs supporting Donald Trump's run for president. But then last week, Horowitz said that he'd be donating to the vice president's election bid in the latest sign that the crypto industry is starting to get behind Harris.
So even the crypto people who were supporting Trump have started shifting to Harris. So that's something I feel like is not being really said enough with the crypto tab in the black men thing that everybody is laughing at. Like, I think it is funny, but thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, so that's CS episode about investing legit. Salute. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's one of our podcast episodes that's recent. You should definitely check. Yeah, so I mean that whole black agenda thing looks pretty terrible. There's more stuff to talk about, but we've been going on long enough and we'll just talk about it later in the week. So there's Kamala Harris's town hall. I want to talk about that. There's Kamala Harris damage control with gossip. I think I'm gonna wait till she finishes with Charlemagne, and I'm gonna do her gossip interview and her um Charlemagne interview in the same episode. Like we have more opportunities to talk about stuff, but yeah, her agenda is where I want to leave it tonight. Like so you saw her agenda, and I most people saw it. Most people are clowning it. Most people know it's bad, but I just wanted to make sure because I felt like it was getting lost in the mix. Why the crypto thing was there? Because I think a lot of people did not know that about how in the pocket of crypto that she is. And here's a CNN article about her agenda. Unveil Harris unveils new proposals targeting black men as she looks to shore up Democratic coalition. And it just talks about basically what we saw in on her page, but there was something that was but it said the announcement comes as Harris lags behind Joe Biden's number with black voters in 2020, especially men. So Kamala Harris is doing worse with black women as well versus Joe Biden. So black voters in general like Kamala Harris less than Joe Biden, which is crazy. And it's like about the Barack Obama thing and whatever. And there's a part in here that I wanted to show that I thought was funny. As CNN reported, Harris had been focused on turning out um, black men before she took over as Democratic nominee, trying to get the enthusiasm there for Biden, and he was still running for election. The concern is that the couch is going to win. One person close to Harris' team previously told CNN, "We need to make sure that black men, Hispanic men, don't sit on the couch because if they don't vote at all, that's a vote for him." Harris will travel to Detroit this week for a Tuesday radio town hall hosted by nationally syndicated radio co-host Charlemagne the God, who has millions of followers across digital platforms, while the Breakfast Club enjoys a vast nationwide audience, much of it black. So this confirms that this is in response to the Barack Obama thing. But again, I don't know why they're so crazy about this black men thing when the most you're going to get out of all of this is 5% boost or whatever. And you're more likely to alienate black men because you're so bad at it. Like you have like 68% of white men to put a dent in, 50% of white women, Latinos, whatever. Like for whatever reason, there's a sense to me in which they've given up on all these other groups. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know why you're trying so hard to get a group you have 85% approval in up a few points to like maybe 90% at best when you can get millions and millions of white men, especially in swing states. You're gonna need those white men. Like something lets them know that for whatever reason black men are more gettable, but I also think maybe black men are easier to scapegoat. Like they can't just scapegoat white men because they need them too much. I think they're setting up black men to be their excuse. We'll see. But thanks to everybody who donated. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who hit like. People that didn't hit like, likes are free. So just hit likes and share this with people. If you enjoy this analysis and our analysis in general, get more people to subscribe to the YouTube. Don't let the YouTube be your little secret. You know what I'm saying? Like share the joy. Let people in your life that you love discover champagne sharks. And thanks to everyone who's been leaving great comments for sure. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good night. I appreciate y'all coming out. Be good.